As we kick this off on Port Alexander to the top left side of the map, our red Zerg, this is Solar. And to the bottom right hand side, our blue Zerg, we've got Serral. Now guys, I'm just going to put this out there because it's something a lot of people forget. I didn't actually get to watch Serral's first series against Rogue, so if I'm saying something like, oh, maybe he's doing this or that, and you're like, well, Wardy, he just did this 20 minutes ago. Are you not a fan of StarCraft? I didn't get to see that because I was casting another series, so do forgive me if I mention something that maybe you guys have already seen a little bit of, and I'm here like pondering and like thinking what it could be and stuff. That's just going to happen at some point. I'm almost certain of it. If you guys have already seen a series, it's just to make just to make me look like a silly caster, really. Solar obviously really turned it around against Innovation. A very weak game 1, a stronger game 2, into a weak game 3 with a big turnaround to win the series. Interested to see what a ZVZ looks like. I mean, it's just so difficult to know what either of these players are going to do, because Serral, we have barely seen him. Obviously, we saw a few matches from him in WCS Winter. We even saw him opening up the year for his first matches this year in WCS Winter were both ZVZs against Nabshar and Soul Spirit, or Nabshar and Hate Me. It was one of those. I can't remember which Zerg player it was. It wasn't Hate Me. There was another Zerg in that group. But we saw him with some matches then, and yeah, obviously he just kind of looked very good. He, in general, it's just hard to know what he's going to do, because even that was like a month ago or so at this point, or coming towards that sort of time. So is the ZVZ still looking the same? Is he playing the same kind of style? I did hear he played a little bit of Ling Bane against Rogue, so maybe expecting some Ling Bane openers, which isn't exactly far from the kind of expectation here when it comes to ZVZ. As you do see the spawning pool from Solar just about to finish as these guys are mirroring build orders. And Solar's kind of the same. Like, we haven't seen too much ZVZ from Solar as of late. So interested to see what these sort of styles these guys come out with. Obviously, whatever Rogue brought to the table wasn't enough to deter Serral. Will Solar have something else to put to the test? Now, this is a very fast lair from Solar. He's going to bypass link speed. And with a very fast lair, you will wall off with the Roach Roaring and the Evo Chamber. So, you guys want me to reload the music mode? Yes, I can do that if that is an issue. I don't know what's going on with my volumes today. I think my volumes are just like all over the place. Maybe my mic just needs to be a bit closer as well. That should be a little bit better for you guys. Sorry. So, what this could be from Solar with a very fast lair. Roach Roaring and Evo Chamber at the front, definitely. Because you want to wall off against a potential Link Flood. But what he might be doing, he might go for a Nidus Network, because with this fast of a lair, you're going to have that so quick. It's way faster than you need a lair for to just get Roach Speed alongside the +1. So I definitely feel like a Nidus is a big possibility here, while Serral just sets up into Link Speed. That will give him the opportunity to be able to take that third hatchery. So, third hatch coming up. Serral will take that advantage. It's one of the things Solar will typically just fall behind from here, as there's the Nidus Network being built. Serral not going to waste too much time, and most importantly, he's not going to build a Banelin Nest, because the Banelin Nest does very little to help out against a straight to Roaches sort of play. Straight to the Roach Roaring will help Serral out a lot right now, as Serral does have an Overlord nearby. He already scouted the Roach Roaring and the Evo Chamber, so he has some idea about opportunities. Attempt to scout in with the Zergling, doesn't find much. So Serral a little bit blind, but it feels like he's already setting up to deal with this. Look at this. Ling is all over the corners of his main base, apart from in this corner here, because he knows there's no Overlord there. So he's ready to pick off a Nidus as it drops down. Here he goes. Zergling's going to jump right onto it. Now, they're not going to do a lot of damage, sure, but they're going to be surrounded it when the units start popping out. And there is a couple of queens in there initially. So let's see how this goes. There'll only be a couple transfusions. There's such a fast night. There's not a lot of energy available on those queens. Okay, Serral backs away. He's going to have Roaches on the way right now, so he's already preparing for this. He cut workers at 31. So as his Roaches come out, he's got a real opportunity. He surrounds everything from Solar, and with Solar surrounded, these Zerglings will do maximum damage now. Those Roaches starting to drop already. The Queen's coming into the fight, and Serral is already cleaning up the first wave of this year. Roaches dropping down. Those Roaches can't get back in the Nidus either, and that was a really crucial part of the surround. Not letting the Roaches back into the Nidus is absolutely huge as Serral takes down game number 1. Damn. Is he beatable? God, everything he does is just perfect, it feels like sometimes. It really does sometimes just feel like everything Serral does is just so good, right? And I mean, that's what's so amazing about watching him play. He takes the smallest little bits of information that he gathered in this game, and he has the absolutely perfect response. you know, all the way through this, right? You go into this game and you look at it, he cut drones at 31, so he made sure he had the right number of workers so he wasn't over-droned. He made a good amount of lings, he was already positioned for the Nidus, he pulled back knowing he didn't want to fight right away, and then he jumps on the surround just before they can jump back in the Nidus again. Like, oh my gosh. Like, oh my gosh. Like, the surround is amazing because a moment later, those units are in the Nidus in a way, maybe united elsewhere, the attack potentially continues. Maybe not great for Solar, but it gives them an opportunity. Serral's like, yeah, I've got the lings now, surround, my queens will join the fight, the roaches will show up later, and absolutely incredible stuff from Serral. As you kind of expect, it's still such a pleasure to watch though. It is still such a pleasure to watch. As we are just waiting for somebody else to join the lobby, and we are off and away into Serral versus Solar game number 2. Wonder if Solar tries something aggressive again. That's what I think is always so inspiring about Serral's play. You can't just cheese him. Like, that's the issue. Like, when we've had very strong players before, they've had those weaknesses where it's like, oh, well, you know what? I'm going to, you know, do this very cheeky build, and maybe I can get a, you know, a bit of a leg up in this game, in this match, where I'm maybe not meant to be the favorite, or you're maybe meant to beat me usually. But with Serral, he just has such a good understanding. He responds so well. He always seems to know what's happening. His scouting's amazing. And with reads like that, with responses like that, how do you just cheese him to try and get ahead? I don't think you can. His control's impeccable as well, so even if his read is slightly off, a lot of the time his control and decision-making in crisis management can sometimes obviously, you know, bring him back into a game as well. Now, that doesn't mean he doesn't make mistakes. Obviously it does happen, but so often he doesn't. And that's exactly, again, after a game one like that, you can only praise Serral, right? It was just perfect. Well, let's hope something else happens from Solar. Our red Zerg in the top left. I'm excited to maybe see more from him. Hopefully doesn't just bomb out with another Nidus or so. Let's see if he can maybe incorporate another couple of tricks. So if he's just going to try and take on the Macro King Serral in a macro straight-up game. Okay, so getting into game number 2. The map is like, you know, Cyber Forest. Obviously, we didn't talk much about the map. Port Alexander. Cyber Forest has this pretty traditional take my 3 base and 4 base in a bit of a corner. Stretching out towards the 5th becomes a bit more difficult. There's a few, you know, pretty much all these bases protected by ramps, and so if you get into a Roach Ravager play, you do generally have a good defensive position to hold. Although there is possibilities of like splitting your army up this way and that way and attacking into this base from 2 directions. So it's that kind of nice middling ground where it's not super easy to push into a base, but there are opportunities if you do have a bit of an advantage. You're not just constantly held away. It's not like King's Cove 3 bases, where if you're ahead, well, cool, go do something else with it. You know, go on vacation for a minute or two, because you can't just push up into 3 bases on King's Cove because there's just ramps, ramps, and ramps. You can't split, you can't surround. That's a much more macro-focused map. This is macro-focused, but it's more standardized. That's how we kind of categorize them. It's like you can take your bases, but they're not free to defend. As we do see the Overlord Scout coming in initially. The early build order is very similar from either side until Serral opts not to start Zergling Speed. As his Queen completes, well, he didn't start an Evo Chamber, so there's no chance of a Carapace upgrade. So as his Queen completes, it's a lair from Serral. You know what? I would just love it if Serral just turns around and says, hey, sorry, did you want to learn how to do a Nidus all-in? Actually, what you should do is you should do this. And then you just, like, take Solar down. That'd be so amusing. I kind of like this map for it. Obviously, the Scout in the main is very difficult to attain with Overlords or anything. Getting up into this natural will be tough as well, as the Evo Chamber and Rotron wall very easily holds this area. You see the 2 Queens there walling off as well. So no Zergling's able to flood on through. As Serral, he's doing what Solar did. And Solar is doing what Serral did. He's taking that 3rd hatchery. He's moving on in the game. He's actually going into an Evolution Chamber, and that is something that will not help him defend his attack, as he invests straight into +1 missiles. Yes, in the long run for Solar, he's going to be able to go into +1 missiles, and that will help him quite a lot here. But in the short term, if a Nidus comes in, might not actually help all that much. Now that said, this time around, we do see this +1 missile start upgrade starting from Serral. There's some possibility that this is a fake out, just in case a Zergling Scout, which it is. There you go, it gets cancelled. The reason for this is if a Zergling Scout's up the ramp and it sees that Evo Chamber upgrading, it really, really, really sells the idea of I am making, you know, if I'm upgrading, I'm building the macro play. But with 3 queens, he can fully block this ramp, and so the Zerglings can't get high ground vision to see that Evo chamber anymore. And so he doesn't get the information that it's not upgrading. So Serral is making Solar play blind. Nidus is about to finish. Now he's going to be able to get the Nidus up in the corner of their space unseen. Solar currently going into lair is making roaches though. So Solar kind of feels like he's getting the right setup to deal with this. We have the +1 missiles about halfway done. There comes the Nidus. I kind of like Solar's response to this too. Serral's on a few more drones than Solar was with his, so it's a bit of a later Nidus. But I really feel Solar, 40 drones, +1 missiles on the way. Let's see what happens. These queens coming out, the roaches coming forwards. Solar already has roaches here. He did cancel Ling's speed to go into his +1 missiles, which is why he has that +1 missiles coming up so quickly. And Serral's going to set up a Nidus on the third base as well. That's one of the things we never saw Solar able to do because he got surrounded. Use the Nidus in multiple locations. Serral is going to miss a transfuse. Nope, he's just waiting until the last possible moment. It's just crazy when he does little things like that. I'm sure that roach is going to die. No, he was just waiting as drones get pulled in. So already, Solar losing a few drones here. Now remember, if Serral doesn't do enough damage with this, he's in this weird spot where he isn't going to have +1 missiles to respond with. As we're going to see him pulling back. I'm surprised he didn't jump into the Nidus and out to the third hatch already. We'll pop up over here now. Solar does pull the couple of roaches that were here away, although turns to fight, so we'll take a bad fight. And Serral capitalizes, picking those roaches off. Solar continuing to make use of his lair, going into roach speed. This third hatchery may very well fall. Has cleaned up the Nidus in the main base, and there's no Overlord here anymore either, so it's going to be tough for Serral to really get back over there. I feel it's just a position where you have to back away from. Those roaches coming forward. Serral still trying to fight it out. The roaches, a couple more popping out the Nidus, but I think Solar has enough. And it feels like these Nidus builds are just not quite working. And Serral will now start going into his +1 missiles. Still trying to fight these roaches. I mean, is it just that he can't back away into the Nidus because then he's in trouble anyways? I feel like maybe, obviously it's easier for us to say, looking at this, it's much easier for us to say maybe he should have just popped back into that Nidus sooner. See if Serral can maybe turn this around, because at the moment he's definitely in a bit of trouble when it comes to the army. He's down an upgrade, he's down 15 army supply. He holds a 7 drone advantage, and Solar will now start to drone up himself. We'll see if Solar starts up that +2 missile attack at some point, but the much more likely thing to have happen is for Solar just to keep on building in towards this attack and just go for the +1 timing, knowing that Serral's +1 will be so late. But every moment that ticks on by that Serral doesn't die, as Solar actually gets supply blocked here, losing an Overlord. But every moment that ticks on by in Serral's favor right now really helps him out because he gets towards that +1 upgrade, and that is absolutely huge. Serral also not with a roach speed yet. Playing defensively, roach speed isn't absolutely necessary. You can definitely defend without it. So it's something that Serral probably says, you know what, I'm not going to invest into it because I need every single roach right now just to survive. And in fairness, he's evening up this game, 50 army supply apiece. Roach is maybe coming out of this Nidus on the other side to cancel the third again. He has his own third base up. Drops a couple throws of Val Solar. As we see Serral with the concave on the low ground. Should be okay here. Nothing out the Nidus yet because obviously he's focused on not dying for the moment. Oh man, Serral's engagements are so good. He's got the queens to help out with this fight as well. As he presses forwards, he takes a little bit of a trade, picks off that Overseer too. He's still pushing forwards, confident he can win this. But he walks 2 queens into the Corrosive Vial, and that is a bit of a mistake. He's about to get +1 missiles. He's been fighting all this time without it. And remember, he doesn't have roach speed either, so chasing down these roaches, not an option. He just doesn't have the speed to realistically chase. Overseer in the main, it threatens the Nidus network. Tell you what, he's also about to have a Contaminate. And with a Contaminate available, he could maybe slow down this +2 missile upgrade. And if he slows down this +2 missile upgrade, he can then maybe catch up with his own +2. It's only 1 Contaminate away from being like a 15-20 second difference. Serral now is on the lower worker count. Solo last few moments droning on up has worked out for him. And Serral just going to start droning himself on the third base. But really, Serral has been able to turn this game around a little bit, because the early game, that Nidus, sure, it wasn't similar to Solar. Solar had a very different defense to the Nidus. Serral had a very different defense to what Solar's defense looked like when we saw Solar Nidusing. But it kind of didn't look great, right? Like, he lost a lot of roaches, he was down. He did kill a few drones, because Solar pulled those drones in on the top side. And that little drone advantage is what Serral has worked with so far. To kind of just stay in this here. Overseer coming in, Contaminate available. It's going to slow that +2 down just that little bit. And there's +2 slowed. And again, it's nice. It gives Serral that opportunity to play catch-up a little bit here. You gotta remember, Serral killed the Overseer up here, and that means like Solar doesn't have the same energy on his Overseer, so he doesn't actually have the ability to slow that down. As Serral currently playing dodge him with the Overlord, chased by a Queen as well, very far forwards, but well, Serral doesn't really have an opportunity in this game to just move forwards and capitalize on it. You see that Serral's +2 now is maybe 20 seconds or so behind. This is still going to be a really difficult hold for him. He does have the ramp, and the ramp's going to be absolutely essential to defending. It's about a 15 to 20 army supply difference at any given time. And he's going to be down the upgrade very soon too, but again, he can use the ramp. He jumps on this army, then he drops the corrosive bars as well, backs away. Still now going to open up the rock from the other side, give himself a bit more of a chance to, you know, a couple different directions to attack into. We mentioned the ability to attack in 2 directions on this position, and that might be exactly what Serral is hoping for. But I love what Serral's doing. He forces the army on the left back with the corrosive bowels, and Solar's army on the right gets jumped on. Good response by Solar, pulling that army on the right away so he didn't have to engage. Serral is moments away from his own +2, but he does get coated in bowels, and now he's in a bit of a choke point. Solar has got himself into the concave on the low ground here, and Serral just has to keep fighting that back. How is he going to do it? It's really tough. This concave is very powerful. This Queen taking a few shots as well as Solar continues to fight on this base. Roaches and Ravagers spreading themselves out. One Ravager gets taken down from Serral. I just don't think he has the numbers anymore. As Solar coming in as reinforcements too, he's getting a bit of a surround on this army, and as Serral's reinforcements pop out, well, A, they're just not in time, and B, they're going to be popping out all over the place. GG's. Solar ties us up 1-1, and we're going to game number 3 in this series. So we're going to a third map between Solar and Serral here, getting this ready to start in a couple of moments. Again, meanwhile, guys, couple of updates. Innovation versus Gumiho happening over on the main stream, so go and check that out. We're going to be jumping into our third game of Solar versus Serral here in a moment or so on Kairos Junction, as we are tied up 1-1. Over on the C stream right now, I believe we also have, I believe it's Ragnarok versus Rogue. Yes, it is, although it's not actually, I'm watching an ad, so I can't tell you an update on the score. I know they're at least into game number 2. They might have gone into game number 3 while we've been in game ourselves, as we will be going into this in just a moment. Players are ready and up, so it's just a case of giving it, getting the host off of our admin, and we can start up this game number 3. Alright, we just got to swap colors here. Serral's going to go back to being blue. Solar's going to play in red, getting our desk caster in as well. Any moment now, and we will be able to continue. So Rogue and Ragnarok are tied up 1-1. I can see now. Awesome. So that Rogue Ragnarok 1-1 in the series. Man, so much ZVZ in this group, isn't there? But honestly, the ZVZ games so far seem to be delivering. I like it. Alright, players are ready. And let's jump into our third map here. Serral, with the opportunity to Nidus in that game, didn't go his way. The Nidus builds from both players have been figured out, well defended. Serral, for a little while, kept himself in the game, but at the end of the day, he just couldn't hold that third base, and Solar did all the right things to get in position, and once he got down that low ground, it was really over, because then he had a concave, with Solar having, Serral having to push through a choke point. Game number 3, and this is going to be an aggressive one from the start. As to the bottom right-hand side, we have our red Zerg player, Solar. Top left with the 12 pool. Our blue Zerg is Serral. The old Serral would have done a Roach Burrow comeback, but this one was slow. How are you meant to Roach Burrow comeback when you can't even afford Roach speed initially? I mean, I think by the time Roach Burrow finishes, Serral just dies from the investment. It costs so much money. In a game like this, it's like an 8 Roach difference. And he needed every Roach he could get to stay alive for a while. And that's the issue. He was just too far behind to set up into a comeback. And that was the problem. Solar did all the right things, attacking at the right times. I mean, Serral did everything he could to survive too, right? He skipped Roach speed for a while. He denied the +2 for a bit longer with the Contaminate. He did everything he could, but there is just a reality of he was just a bit too far behind from the opening, and Solar was able to make the right choices, the right decisions, and play it out correctly to close the game out. Well, things on the way over from Serral. This really comes down to a micro war, the 12 pool. Serral will expand behind the 12 pool, of course. Solar with the expansion coming down on the natural hatchery. Solar sees the Lings for the first time. The defense here will involve pulling the drones initially. Solar pulls out of gas as well, going straight into purely mineral mining. So you'll pull the drones down, and that's where the micro begins. That's where the war happens to decide, well, am I going to be able to, how many drones does Serral get to kill here? You can see he's kind of stepping himself into position, so he's ready to greet the drones as they come down with the concave of Zerglings. A little bit of a slow pull from Solar, giving that hatchery some time to finish up, and it does mean that Serral gets quite a lot of damage into that hatchery. The thing is here, if Serral kills the hatchery, he immediately gets into a position. Yes, this is good so far from Serral. Look at the damage done. He dies for that drone as well. That was the first time he dove a bit harder because he knew he could get the drone kill. Good pullback with just a few of the lings. For a moment, Serral wanted to dance around and play that sort of style where you try and maybe kill the hatchery, but then he realizes it's not going to happen. He gets 4 or 5 workers, though, with lings left alive. Is extremely important to note, and I love this. Goes to scout the main base. He wants to know if ling speed's on the way, because that really tells him how greedy he can be with his follow-up. Seeing no ling speed, seeing the gas isn't even mined for it yet, that's big information, because now he knows he can be that little bit greedier. And with 5 drone kills, lings kept alive, this is important because you don't have to make as many Zerglings to defend now, and you can keep on building drones. And look at the worker advantage. Serral up by 5 or 6. Yes, he will have no gas, and that is the one issue right now, as he'll probably be saving up a creep tumor here on this queen to push the creep far enough forwards to wall off this area now. I don't quite think the hatchery covers it. Maybe it does, because this hatchery is still spreading that creep forwards here. As you do see the lings diving into the main. Important scout from Solar as well. It's important for him to know, is there gas from Serral? Because that means, I can also be very greedy if there's no gas here. Or maybe I want to make some Zerglings to try and punish Serral for not having gas of his own. So a couple lings going to keep running around. Eventually they turn around and fight, and Solar will get cleaned up. So what if Serral going to start running away? I mean, the queens probably won't get that kill because they have to come down and around to stay in range. That's going to take a little while. Serral continues to back off, but doesn't keep backing off. He actually knows those queens aren't going to chase, and he keeps it down on the bottom. Well, Solar is making quite a lot of Zerglings right now, so this wall-off is going to be extremely important here from Serral. That creep tumor might come back to bite him, this one right here, because it actually stops him from making a full wall-off behind this queen. So you might have to go for double building. That creep tumor positioning might hurt a little bit. We'll find out soon as lings start to move across. Serral sees it already. He's got the roach drone and +1 missiles on the way. Well, +1 missiles won't finish. You might want to cancel that just to get extra roaches. He might not even need extra roaches. What he might need here, I see what he's going to... look, you can see, immediately he kills his own creep tumor because he knows the problem it creates. But it's too late, I think. Evo Chamber will come down. Now, the issue is his roach drone won't come up here. And if his roach drone doesn't come up... Oh, okay, he'll come up for a few moments. That's really important because he can start a few roaches. And even just a few roaches here will help to hold behind this mineral, behind this wall off. So a few roaches on the way out. Serral currently holding with a 10-worker lead, going into +1 missiles, but again, that +1's in trouble too. So much surface area on this Evo Chamber. Starts the +1 on the other Evo Chamber now instead. Evo Chamber comes down just in time. And I think at some point here, Serral's just not going to be able to do much more. The Broodlings obviously keep dealing damage as well. And Serral just making a few more Overlords, getting set up into this. Man, that kill on the creep chamber was very smart because it was, like I mentioned, blocking the Evo chamber being in the correct location. However, it was just too late and he had to go double Evo anyways. But it works out for him here. He does defend. The Solar now start to take an army supply, worker lead, sorry. Serral obviously holding the army supply lead. Did have to restart that +1 missiles. I love the cancel on this Evo here to bring it forwards a bit. Take surface area away from his important Evo chamber. Upgrade him +1. Serral will just cancel, build the roach, set the roaches up as the wall instead with the queens. And it looks like he actually wants to start pushing down towards a third hatchery already. Doesn't feel like there's enough lings to really do much else. Pulls the drone back as the lings are obviously going to be very threatening here. Actually, the drone pulls all the way back. Does he want to fake the... Oh, you know what? This might just be a fake. Fake the idea of wanting a third base. And then actually just go into a Ling Bane Roach all in with +1 missiles. Because he's making Banelings. I'm a little bit worried on the other side of the map though, because Solar does have Roach production started. Will be behind on +1. Queen's going to try and squeeze each other to stay alive, but unfortunately Queen of Energy gets picked off. Good little snipe from Solar as those Zerglings pull away up through the top side. A few Banes ready. Coming forwards, I mean, Link counterattack into the mineral line. Now, there's going to be roaches here, so not going to be a massive problem. Only a couple Lings actually get up into the main. The Queen should be able to deal with that. While Serral will have the +1 missile attack upgrade lead, he'll have those Banes as well, which are a very powerful kind of factor. You know, you connect into a group of roaches, and that splash damage goes a long way, but good, quick split. However, it means these roaches on the top side are out of the fight for a little while. Serral only just now about to get +1 missiles. If he pulls back here, he might just have to back away into... I mean, I don't know if he can back away though, right? He has no third hatchery to back himself up here. Getting some links to reinforce to get in front and to tank these roach shots, keep his own roaches alive a bit longer. Serral is kind of running out the fight on the top side, but only because he's losing on the bottom quite heavily. And Solar's numbers are a little bit too much. As Solar is able to pick off that queen. And these lings and roaches of Serral is pulling back into the center of the map. Lair now on the way up from Serral in the natural expansion. Going to try and find a transition away from this here. But these downfall workers, the biggest thing is he's down a hatchery. Now he doesn't... I mean, the mining right now, it doesn't really involve this third hatch. But while Serral sets up to a third hatch, it definitely will begin to involve it. You can see Solo's already making some extra drones. Solo did a lot of cool little things here to slow this attack down and to really kind of just force Serral into a bit of a worse spot with his engagement. Let's see what Serral can do, because I feel like Serral has enough army to maybe survive a counter or so. There's no roach speed from Solo as well, so counterattacking might take a little while here. So it does give Serral a little while where he can maybe try and find ways back into the game. Compared to the last game where Solo had everything he needed to apply pressure, stop Serral from setting up, this game could be a little bit different. There's a few drones on the way out, +2 missiles getting started, the +1 carapace on the way up as well. Poor Ravager Battle is going to get an Overlord kill there, nice and easily, straight down. Zerglings of Serral moving around the right side. Roaches of Solar pushing up this side as well. And then just the free base for the moment, but that's all you need. Solar, well, I guess Serral sees this here with this Overlord. I like what Serral's doing with the Ravagers, obviously picking off a couple Overlords here and there. Solo is just going for this. He's making a lot more roaches. He's only on +1 attack. So while Serral's going into +1 carapace and +2 missiles, eventually this is going to be better for him. But it might not help him survive this incoming attack right now, which Solo is just super committed to. Nice little run by. Pull some roaches back. It's little things like this that buy Serral time to make up that 30 army supply disadvantage and for his upgrades to finish. Because if there's anything that's going to save Serral here, it's perhaps getting these upgrades. But he realizes, I think, that there's no upgrade on his opponent's Evo Chamber, so he cancels +2 missiles. This allows him to build a lot more roaches, and it closes that gap in the army supply difference to be a bit more manageable, perhaps. Restarts it again now. But I definitely think he does need a few more of those roaches and ravagers, because this attack from Solo is going to be huge. Now Serral will have the defensive position. It's going to be a really tough couple of moments, guys. If you're cheering on Serral here, this upcoming hold is absolutely do or die, and it's not easy to make. I think you have to cancel +2 again. I mean, he sees the army pushing across. He obviously feels as though he can get away with keeping +2. But it's so far from finishing that I just wonder if it's worth the risk. He's not going to come up in any sort of timely manner to help him out with this defense. Wants to try and stop Solo again up the ramp, but Solo splits away and will get up the ramp very easily. Serral had to send some units down to the bottom side to deal with a few roaches that are poking forwards there. Serral with the splits against the corrosive vials, trying to hang on for the moment or two. All roaches coming in now. Maybe Serral can get forwards, but a lot of his roaches not fighting for a moment. Good split away. This is a committed fight from Solo. Remember, Serral at least does have a carapace upgrade advantage in this fight. It's something. Is it enough? The army supply gap is a lot smaller than it was before. The Ravagers of Solo are starting to drop down too, and that's absolutely huge. He doesn't have corrosive vials on his side, and Serral is going to split around. He's going to clean this up. He did have to cancel +2 again. He'll start it now for the third time this game as Serral pushes Solo back, and Solo's commitment to this all-in is not going to pay off. And now Serral has +2 missiles started with a similar army supply to Solo, and Solo, I think, realizes what's up, goes back home, starts the +2 missile upgrade. What a defense from Serral here as he holds on very, very miraculously. I mean, I say miraculously, it's just another day in the office for Serral. It's something we've seen time and time again from him. These little holds that, I mean, he just makes it look simple as well. Beautiful stuff, and look at it now. Okay, he's still down a few workers. He'll drone up a little bit from here, but he has the carapace upgrade still. He has a slight timing window advantage on his +2. A couple of little things. You can see this overseer, by the way. Soon to have the energy to contaminate. Might just be looking to slow that +2 down, because Serral is not building workers. He is not building many workers. He built 3, but that's about it. He is saturated almost on this third base. Solo going up to a 4th. It feels like Serral is now committing to his own all-in, where he's going to hit with +2, slow down the +2 of his opponent with the Overseer. That Contaminate is ready. He knows where it is as well. The Corrosive Vials, not good enough to connect just yet. Yeah, he can get there in time to Contaminate. Does he get out? Maybe not, but the Contaminate is huge for him. Absolutely huge. It's worth the Overseer. And that definitely confirms, I think, with how desperate he is for the deny on +2 for a while, I think it confirms that Serral is looking to hit a big +2 attack in the next few moments. Solar has a 4th base. I mean, again, these are the investments from Solar that are not really going to help him out at all. There'll be a Roach Ravager down the bottom. I like this. He splits his army out in terms of where he's moving across. And it really puts Solar into a bit of an awkward spot because he doesn't see a lot of what's coming over. Now he'll see a bit more of it. Roach on the top side too, going to force Solar to pull away. We've seen Serral has been able to micro-fight on multiple fronts many times in the past. There you go, the main fight on the bottom. Serral just a moment or two away from +2 missiles being in his favor. Obviously, he's forced a lot of units to pull away from Solar to defend on that top side. Serral now backing away. As long as those units are still over there, it's okay. Serral definitely with the position on the 3rd base. Couple Corrosive Bars connect. Splits away. More Corrosive Bars ready to go. The Broodlings come in. 4th base denied. So Serral already doing something here. Roaches now actually, oh my god, I love it. The Roaches actually dove in through the natural ramp and actually come in to join the fight halfway up. What a, oh my, that's so sick. Serral, what a play. He dives in, he gets on the Ravager line, and with the Ravagers dead, can we rewind? I didn't observe that. Oh my god, I pressed the score button, the score screen. I'm too excited. I just want to show you guys that move again, because that was absolutely sick. Hang on, give me a sec, guys. I want to show you this again, because this was absolutely insane. One moment, please. This was so ridiculous. So what he did, he had these Roaches that were harassing up here, which forced this army over here as well, right? And what he did was, he pulled around the side, and he darted up this ramp. And not only were these Roaches and Ravagers still out of position, he gets on top of the Ravagers because of it. Let's just hold on a moment and just watch this, guys. It'll take us a quick minute to maybe get to it, but I really want to show this again, because this was such a sick little move of these Roaches. What a way to play. What an absolutely insane play. I mean, this initial hold was crazy to begin with. This initial hold was absolutely bonkers against the Roaches and so on. This was, because obviously he went for his all-in initially. God, this game had so many different stages. So many swings. Solar must be so frustrated. Like, after you hold this attack, God, Solar must be like, what on earth was I doing trying to just end the game? I can't end, no one can end the game against Serral. Alright, sorry guys. If I only hit the rewind button faster. So this was his amazing hold to begin with. This is what I want to show you guys though. Again, now we want to show you guys what these Roaches did to win Serral the game. It was just crazy. Another 20 seconds or so, we should be there. And this hold in itself was obviously fantastic. And then he holds, he decides to commit to his own all-in. He hits the Contaminate on the +2, which was, again, essential. And you can see how close it was. He only just got here in time before the Overseer died. And that is really big as well. Okay, so it's this play now. So let's just time forward. So these Roaches obviously came to the top side, and then they pulled back. And as Solar still has units committed over here, this fight's starting to happen, etc. Instead of Serral pulling all the way around, he darts up here. Solar sees it, but these units are still positioned all the way to the right-hand side. And because of that, these Roaches jump into the fight. Solar's down 10 or 15 army supply for a few seconds. And look what they do. They target fire the Ravagers for a couple of moments. And they get the Ravagers from the top side too. And it absolutely turns the game around. Absolutely insane stuff from Serral. What a move. What an absolutely insane move. While you're in that fight, while you're using those Roaches, beautiful stuff.